Yay! August 15th. Let's see. Home children, we're going to need like a little half sheet of paper that has all the direct sheet things on it, and we're going to be doing a thing with your notebook here in just a moment. Writing utensil, and then also your 5 pictures. If you don't have the 5 pictures, we'll talk about that here in a moment. Up here, right below this area, I print off your grades each week, and then I post them up here for you to see. This is an example class. That is not your class. You will not actually find your information up there. This is what it looks like. I do not use your name when I post. It is going to be my student ID number. And so you just have to know what your student ID number is, which is that one you use to type in for lunch or whenever you go to the library or something like that. And you'll find your ID, and then you can find information over here. It is listed not in alphabetical order, because then it'd be too easy to figure out who people's numbers are. It is listed from highest grade to lowest grade. So if you have highest grade, you're up here. If you have lowest grade, it's down here. Your guys' sheet is the one that's right here, because it has 5 on it. So you just have to find the one that has your number on it, and you can check it before or after class. This is the exact same thing that is on Skyward. But I have learned that kids are lazy. And just because it's on Skyward doesn't mean you guys check Skyward. So you can also come over here to check it too. Right now, most of you guys have an A+. Because if you turned in your picture last week and you turned in your notebook last week, you have an A+. Go you. If you did not turn in one of those things, you only have an A. And there's like one kid that has a B+ in one of my classes. Now, if you did not bring your pictures today, your grade went down again, because today was for a grade. So if you did not have pictures today, you are now down like the A-, B+. And then hopefully you'll bring it tomorrow and bring your grade back up. To figure out how to use it, this last column, that is your grade in my class. If you want to know your overall English grade, you come over here and take a look, and you go down and take a look at all the information through there. If you want to know your B points, the B points are still going to be right here. It's the one that says B points. It's going to be this bold-faced area. Most of you guys are at 15. Some of you guys have gone up. Some of you guys have gone down. Again, if you go this whole week without losing points, then at the end of the day, Friday, you gain a free B point, which means you start next week at 16 points. If you go the whole next week, you're going to go up to 18 points. If you go the next week, it goes up to 21 points. And so it'll keep going up there every week that you don't lose points, and don't make me yell at you. Then these other 2 columns are where your grades are. So if you're missing assignments or if you have a late assignment, it'll tell you on there. So you can just find whatever your number is, come across and go, oh, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, I'm good. And then the points, oh, I have my 15 points and I have an A, go you. So that's how you can figure it out. You're welcome to check it before or after class, and that is fine with me. Questions from there? We good? Yay. Whoop. This is what is due tomorrow, your class name's homework. I'll be coming around and checking it. This will also, again, be for your little grade here at the beginning of class, trying to bump you up and keep you as close to that A+ as possible. So this is my way of trying to help you from here. Over the weekend, I sent out a remind that had every kid's name in this class on it. So if you didn't have all the names, go on Remind, and you can find that thing, and it has all the names on there for you. So you are welcome to use that. And that is officially due tomorrow. If those of you who are wanting to be able to stand up and say everyone's name to get munchie treats, that'll be at the end of class tomorrow. We're going to start giving you a chance to do that if you know it. So I'll check that from you tomorrow, either first name or last name, or if a kid has a nickname, then you can use that too. Questions as far as what's due tomorrow? Still staring at me. This is to remind you that if you are missing that green handout from the first day, you can print a new one, because you have your first quiz coming up on Friday. So this Friday, we have our first quiz over my class. It is going to be open note. So if you have your notebook, because there's going to be questions from the notebook, you can use it. If you have the green sheet, you can use it. If you have your hall pass, you can use it, because I'm going to have questions over all of those different things. If you're missing that green sheet, then you can go in here and then print a new green sheet. And that is up to you. If you want to print your own Simpson sheets because you're afraid that you can't bring them in because they keep losing them, then you can print your own Simpson sheet, and that's fine with me too. So quiz on Friday, and then we have printing things if you need to. Assuming Moore's just staring at me. Okay. Here's what the picture homework was to remind you. You are going to be finding 5 pictures of things that connect to you. We are going to be building our little poster thing that looks like this. If you want to know how much room you have on the poster, look at your little blue sheet. That's how much room you have on the poster. So the blue sheet, like this little top section is yours. That's almost the exact same size. So if you want to figure out how much room you have for your pictures, look at this, put it down, put your pictures on top of it, and that's how much room you have. So if you printed off 5 full-size sheets of paper, that's not going to fit on a little piece of paper. So what you're going to have to do is cut it down. So if you printed out like a full-size picture of a soccer player and you want it to fit, you're going to have to like just cut out the soccer ball or cut out his eyebrow or something like that. And then you can stick that on there instead. But that's all the room you have. You can overlap them. That's fine. But you only have this much room for your pictures overall. If you need me to print your pictures, I sent out directions on Remind earlier today. So if you did not see them, this is what it says. In order for me to print your pictures, so for those of you who want me to, you have to combine them into a pic collage. If you don't combine them into a pic collage, I don't print them for you because I'm only printing one thing. And your name has to go in it. If your name's not on it, I charge you points. So if you send me a pic collage with no name, you're making me do work, I charge you points for it. You send it to me before first period, and you're good. If you wait until 4th period during lunch tomorrow, you are out of luck. I print before school starts. Simpson?
Have we picked out our room?
Yes, we have. And we are going to find out what your soul chose in just a few minutes. I'm excited for we to discover it. Those of you, the 11 of the 23, so almost half of you in here, who did not have pictures, as long as you have them by tomorrow, you're good. If you email me tonight, I will print them off and have them for you tomorrow. If you don't email me and don't have pictures, it's okay, boo-boo. I have pictures for you. Those Wonder Pets aren't going to print their own pictures out, so we're going to hook you up on those. All right, I'm ready to go there. And yeah. And again, this is what I'm looking like. So send me picture, name, stuff like that. All right, example thing. All right, so the direction thing here. I did not get all the way through this with you. Do you remember how far I got so I don't repeat myself? If not, I can go back and do the same bad jokes over again. Robin?
We got to the example page and then the bell rang and then we left.
The example page?
The previous page.
I was on this screen, I know that much, because I have not gotten down to the things at the bottom with any of my classes. All right, so let's find out. I'll ask you questions, and we'll see until we get blank stares. If someone does not have a middle name, what do you do? Did we not even get that far with you? Then let's begin from the very start. So here, this, look on blue sheet. So this has a little direction-y thing. This is what you're doing in your interview today. So when you get into your group, you're going to be interviewing someone to give a speech. Here's what you're going to find out in your interview. Number 1, whoever I'm interviewing, let's say I'm going to be interviewing, I'll pick on Brooklyn. I'm interviewing Brooklyn. You have to find out their full name. First name, last name. Some cultures have multiple middle names. First name, middle name, last name. Some cultures have multiple last names. First name, middle name, last name, last name, last name. You're going to know all of those different names. So that's what you're going to tell us about. I'm going to say, this is Brooklyn Taylor Yoxel. I was going to make up a name, that saved me time. If you don't like your middle name, if you're sitting there thinking already, Mr. Brovicast, I'm going to stab you in the head because I hate my middle name. Guess what? I don't know your middle name. So if you don't like your middle name, create a new one. And you can make up whatever middle name you want. And you can be Brooklyn Captain Marvel Yoxel. It's like the best thing ever, and you can come up with your own middle name, and that's absolutely fine with me. If your culture does not have a middle name, that is your middle name. I have no middle name. It'd be Brooklyn, no middle name Yoxel. He's going to go ahead and stick it in there, whatever it's going to be. He's going to figure out, some of you are going to be paired up with a lazy child. We know that because we already have 11 in this class who did not bring their stuff. If you get partnered up with lazy child, and let's say I go, Brooklyn, what's your middle name? And she goes, no, I refuse to work because I'm a giant turd. In that case, here's what you get to do. If the person you're interviewing refuses to answer a question, you lose points on your project because I'm grading you on how well you follow directions. And if Brooklyn refuses to play my game, you get to make up answers. If I go, Brooklyn, what's your middle name? And she goes, no. And I go, done. Brooklyn Stinky Toes Yoxel. And you get to make up whatever middle name you want it to be. So you get to choose if they choose lazy, because I don't play the lazy game. Next up, where you were born. City and state for where you were born. Some of you guys were born in Fishers, Noblesville, Indianapolis. Those are probably the main ones that are going to be around here. Others of you were born in another state. Some of you guys may have been born in another country. One or two of you on another planet. That's up to you. If you don't know where you were born, one, happens, you can go home and talk to the big people in your house. Just be careful how you phrase it. It gets real awkward if you go home and go, Mommy, Daddy, where did I come from? That's a whole other discussion that I'm not responsible for. So instead, I recommend saying, where was I born? And that makes things better. If you don't like where you were born, you can make it up. I wasn't there. I don't know where you were born either. If I did, that'd be creepy. If I could look at you and go, Toledo, Ohio, room 305, you'd be like, what? That'd be weird. So I don't know where you were born, so you can just make it up if you want to. What your birthday is. So we can find out if you guys have birthday buddies. So whatever your birthday may be, May 18th, or whatever your particular birthday may be. Can you lie on your birthday?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. If you don't want to be born on May 18th, you're like, June 65th. That's fine. You can go ahead and change it. Can I change the year I was born? Yep, you can be 100 if you want to. That's fine with me. This is more just figuring out about your personality and how well you can follow directions. Your favorite subject. Pick your favorite subject here at school. It has to be one you can fail and get a grade at. So you can't choose best, you can't choose lunch, you can't choose passing period, because you can't technically fail those. Yeah, I'm aware. Some of you guys failed lunch, because I've walked through there and watched you guys try to eat. Some of you guys miss your mouth and make messes everywhere. Yeah, I agree. That's failing at lunch, but that's not quite the same thing. You have to pick a class that a big person can actually yell at you for. 2 hobbies. Hobbies are things that you do for fun. For most of you, it's going to be talking to friends and watching TikTok. Some of you guys, you might switch that out for playing video games. For a few of you, you'll switch one of those out for chasing a squirrel because you're part puppy. So whatever your hobbies may be, the things that bring you joy, you have to pick. Oh, if you're interviewing someone and they only give you one hobby and refuse to give you a second one, what do?
Make it up.
Make it up. And then you get to pick what their other hobby is. If they don't like it, they shouldn't be a slacker. One interesting fact, something about you that is interesting and sets you apart. And so this is what you get to choose. For some of you, maybe you were born with a tail and a doctor's had to surgically remove it right after you were born. For others of you, your interesting thing is you have 10 toes. And you're like, oh, don't we all have 10 toes? Yeah, that kid's just not very interesting. So that's up to you. Or you could make a thing up if you want to. It's like, I was born with a third arm and it came out of my chest. I had it until I was 7 and I punched a kid and the police ripped it off. We're like, yeah, that's pretty interesting. And so you get your choice over what you want that interesting fact to be. This is more just us getting to find out your opinion. You're going to tell us what your partner's pictures and adjectives are. So again, if I'm partnered up with Brooklyn, I'm going to go through and tell you on here, Brooklyn has a picture of a puppy and a go-kart and an arcade game and some guy eating spaghetti and whatever the different things are, you're going to go, and you have to come up with 5 adjectives that describe you. Brooklyn thinks she's tall and short and smart and dumb and confused. And so you're going to come up with what those 5 words are. If you don't have adjectives, you can ask other kids to come up with words to describe you, and that's fine too. Favorites. You're going to pick 2 favorites from that list, and here's where many of you guys are not going to follow directions, and I'm going to get a chance to make fun of you. You have to actually tell me what their favorite thing is. I can't say, Brooklyn has a favorite movie and a favorite food. I'm like, well, what are they? And they go, what? And I'll go, good job with directions. Brooklyn's favorite movie is Twilight, and her favorite food is blood. And so you're going to come up with whatever their favorite food is, favorite movies, so figure out things from that list that are their favorites. And then this last part, this is how well do my kids follow directions. Spoiler, I already know the answer for some of you. You are going to help us remember their name. You have 4 choices of things that connect to their name. The first one, an interesting history. Some of you have an interesting history behind your last name and how it came to be. Some of you guys have an interesting history in your first name. For me, my dad's best friend died the week before I was born. And he went from the funeral to me coming into the world. And so he named me after his best friend and gave me the same first name. I find that interesting. You may not have an interesting story. You maybe popped into the world and your mom just looked at you and went, Bob. And so that might not be as interesting of a story. If you don't have an interesting history of your name, what can you do?
Make it up.
Make it up. You're like, my name, I'm sorry. His name is Bob, and before he was born, his mom fell off a cruise ship and was floating in the water for a month. And when the Coast Guard found her, they're like, thank God you're alive because you've been bobbing in the water. And then she popped up and I was born, and she went, Bob! And I'm like, yep, that's up to you. If you want to make it up, more power to you. Next up, first and last name in Pig Latin. If you don't know what Pig Latin is, I'm going to teach it to you in a moment. It's like a secret language you can use to taunt other people. Like if you already know what Pig Latin is, I can go Ids Ra Upiste, and you'd be like, oh, damn Mr. Broviac. If you don't know Pig Latin, you're going to go, oh, old man had stroke. And so I'm going to teach you how to learn to speak Pig Latin. For some of you, you'll understand it and be like, oh, that makes sense. For others of you, it'll just confuse you. 3, what animal they would be, but it has to connect to their name. So if it's Brooklyn, I can either pick a B or I can go off the Y from Yoxel. So you have to pick an animal that starts with the same letter from their name and then tell us why. Be like, Brooklyn wants to be a bison because she's always wanted to be large and fuzzy and to step on things. Or whatever, it could be something along those. Yoxel wants to be what starts with a Y? Yak?
Yeah.
Yellow. She's always wanted to be a yellow jacket because she's wanted to be able to fly around and sting things and then die. And so whatever it might be, you have to connect it to their name. Well, I'm not the one doing it, it's Brooklyn. You can talk to her later. And then the last one is an alliteration, which is just an English thing where you have to have words that all start with the same letter. You have to have at least 5 words starting with the first letter of their name. Like Brooklyn bakes boxers and boogers into brownies. And so it doesn't have to be true. For all I know, she's never put a booger in a brownie. I have no idea. But you are trying, it's just, can you follow directions? And it's going to make us giggle. Most of this right here comes down to, can you read and follow directions? And we know the answer to that is, what are directions? And then we're going to get a chance to make fun of you in a moment. All right. That's what you're going to do for your interview. And then starting Thursday, you're going to begin standing up in front of the class and telling the whole class about this other person. I feel the same way. You guys? Now, so that you don't have to memorize all this information, we're going to create a place to write down all these answers. So in your notebook, turn to Table of Contents. Page, Table of Contents. Right below where you have class names.
This one?
Right below, so you're going to put this entry right below the class names. Today's date, Ocho Fiftino. Number 2, Small World Notes. And then what is our next available page number for homework? He says, waiting for one kid to figure it out.
3.
Nicely done. Page 3. Then leave your table of contents open, because I'm going to come around and check, because we've had a lot of kids struggling on directions already, since they're supposed to be writing stuff here, and it's already not written there. And I hate to have to, right there, below the other one, I hate to have to whack a kid on the head. Home children, we're going to pause for a moment while I go around and help educate kids. Alright, now, except for the kids who are struggling to know what a 3 or a 1 looks like, turn to page 3. Now let's go to next part. You
One that has 3 on it.
know what a 3 looks like.
That took a while. Where was it?
First thing you're going to do is on page 3 is in the top left-hand corner, not right-hand corner, left-hand corner.
This is
If
left.
you're not sure which one is left, look at your hands until you figure out the one that calls you a loser. And then you're like, I am. And then you go to that side. You write the date in the top left-hand corner, and then you're going to write the title in the top middle, which says Small World Notes. Again, you are doing that because I'll be coming around to check again in a moment, so we don't have to try and help a child out who's struggling already with how to write a thing in the notebook as he talks slowly while staring at a child, trying to figure out how it gets written into the notebook on page 3. Figured we'd get there eventually. Figuring out how to write a thing on page 3. We should, Mr. Broviac, I don't feel you love me until you make fun of me. The pencil?
No, I can't write yet. Because I just put lotion on my hands. The writing isn't writing, guys.
You
Use
I
your
don't get why
sleeve.
you put
What do we have to write?
lotion
Do we have to write that there?
Yeah, I
Use
have
your
lotion.
sleeve.
You're welcome.
Do we have to write that salt
No.
there? Let's
So
see.
what you're just writing the date and title.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is where in a moment when you begin interviewing somebody, this is where you're writing down all that information. So you don't have to memorize it. You're going to write all that information on this page, which is why you have that date and title written on there, which I will be coming around to check all of you here in a moment, even those of you who have lotiony hands. Now, what we're going to do next is I'm going to show you how to do Pig Latin. Okay. Now, what I recommend you do is you use your own name. You can just write your own name down. I'll show you how it works. Do you have to do it? Heck doodle no. If you don't write this down and you have a question later, am I going to make fun of you?
Yes.
Hecky doodle yes. And this is where you get to make your choices. So here's how Pig Latin works. Pig Latin, you take any English word and we're going to turn it into this code phrase word that begins with a vowel and ends with AY. For some of you, I'm going to explain this and you're going to go blink, blink, what? And this is not a thing you're going to want to do because it's too big brain for you. Others of you, you're going to look at it and go, oh, seriously, it's like 3 steps? I can do that. And you're fine. You figure out which person you are. So starting first, do you guys know what vowels are?
Yes.
Your 5 options are? And sometimes? Good job. So you have to know the vowels. Step 1, in my name, Bobby Spiderpig, very common name. In Bobby, what is our first vowel?
Oh.
And in Spiderpig?
I.
So if you're looking at your own in front of you, you have to find the first vowel in your name. Once you have found your first vowel, that is what your word is going to start with. So what we have to do is any letters in front of that, we are going to remove. So in Bobby, we're going to remove the B, and in Spiderpig, we're going to remove the SP. When you remove them, you just move them to the end of the word. So Bobby becomes Obby with a B at the end. Spiderpig becomes Eiderpig with an SP at the end. Now they begin with a vowel. The last step is adding an AY. So then Bobby becomes Obbybay. Spiderpig becomes Eiderpigspay. So now you have Obbybay, Eiderpigspay. And that becomes your Pig Latin. Now, some of you are going to be confused because you're going to go, oh, Mr. Brovicast, what if my name begins with a vowel? Let's use the example of Andy Awesome, another very common name. So in Andy Awesome, what's our first vowel in Andy? A. And in Awesome? A. Are there any consonants in front of it? No. You don't have to remove anything. So then you get to skip that step and go straight to adding the AY. So Andy becomes Andy A. Awesome becomes Awesome A. You'll know you're doing it correctly if your word begins with a vowel and ends in AY. So to help you out, if I were to say Idske R.A. Oopidstay, then in theory, you should be able to figure out the Pig Latin on that one, and you shake a little fist at me. If not, you can just go, okay, and we can figure out sort of where you fit in that whole thing. If that made sense to you, that's an option. If that does not make sense to you, you can just ignore it, like you do with me every day. All right, now, I'm going to make this, I will put this back up again tomorrow when you're doing your interviews again to try and help you out. Let's find out who your soul chose.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, yes.
No, my soul?
I am going to give you your group number. You are going to want to write it either on blue sheet or notebook or both. Because if you forget your group, I can tell it to you, but I charge you points every time I have to tell you your group. All right. Here is group 1. I'll hold it. Group 1 is Brooklyn, Jade, Michael, James. You are group 1. Group 2, Addie, Mia, Callan, Gavin Feltner. You are 2. Group 3, Cameron, Dane, Daru, Jordan. Group 3. Group 4, Mari, Robin, Drew, other Gavin, Gage. You are group 4. Group 5, Jaden, Mariah, who's dead, Samson, Nakai, Mason. You are group 5. Before I get to be mean, has anyone already forgotten their group?
You.
So we feel good on that part. Okay. here's how it's going to work in your group. You are going to begin interviewing someone in just a moment. You have a couple different options and ways of going about doing interviewing. If this is my group of 4 people right here, one option is you can just partner up and say Addie and Mia interview each other, and then Brooklyn and Gavin interview each other. That's one way of doing it, and that's fine. But not every group wants to partner up. Sometimes they want to do more like this round robin circle thing. Here's the round robin circle thing. So Mia will go ahead and interview Addie. But instead of Addie interviewing Mia, Addie turns and talks to Brooklyn. Brooklyn turns and talks to Gavin. Gavin turns and talks to Mia. And that way it makes it like this circle where you guys get a chance to all talk to each other. That depends on whether your group gets along or if you all look at each other and go, you're creepy. And so you guys are going to get to choose from there which level of groupie thing you guys want to do. When you're doing it today, you have to be asking questions and writing stuff down. If Addie and Mia are interviewing each other, and Mia is asking all the questions, and Addie is just sitting there staring off into space, and I come around, I'm going to go, Addie, right in the throat. Because you should be asking questions back and forth. Mia asks a question, Addie asks a question. Mia asks a question, Addie asks a question. So it goes back and forth. Not just one kid doing all the work while you drool. All right. And my group number was that had the dead kid in it? 5. For now, we'll just pretend Mariah's dead. So group 5, we're just going to say that you're a group of 4. And if Mariah comes back to life, we'll worry about Mariah being alive then. So even though 5, you technically have an extra person, we'll ignore extra person for now. Group 4, if you're Mari, Robin, Drew, Gavin, and Gage, you guys cannot just partner up because there's 5 people in your group. If you guys partner, you're going to have one kid just sitting there sad. So you're going to have to either partner up and then do 3 in a circle, or you can do all 5 in a circle. That's going to be up to you from there. Here is where your groups are going to be. If you are a group, well, home children, I'm now going to stop recording. I'm just going to tell the groups where they are. Home children, when you come back to life, we're going to help you guys out from there. If you're Mariah, don't be dead. All right.